Howdy, Rob.
Hi, Matt. You okay?
Yeah, doing good. Let me, oh, good. The recording's going already. Nice.
I saw that.
That was
Before we
weird.
started recording that.
Yeah. Huh. Like, I know I tried to set that auto recording and then like it didn't seem to take, but today it took. I don't know why. I don't know. Zoom's auto recording feature seems a little,
Yes,
a little buggy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Most of the time it works, but
Yeah. Oh, give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
And back.
Okay, good.
Cool. Yeah. How's it going?
Ato is coming later. Going okay. Yeah. Busy.
Yeah.
But and preparing. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. No, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds like you're asking if Ato is joining. I think both Ato and Taka probably can't join in this time slot, so because they're in the middle of their day. So
I see.
Yeah.
But what do you want to do? You want to talk about what do you want to present tomorrow, or?
Yeah, that might actually be, since it's you and me. Let me get a screen share going. I also I left. Let me get. 1 second. The Zoom window keeps getting away from me. There we go. I left this tab open because I thought it was kind of fun. I don't know if you saw me asking Ray about like the database in API, but it looks like we'll see if this continues. I think this will maybe be the final RDS price, but thanks to Ray for confirming we could spin down the TT-serve database. It looks like our RDS spend is going to go from about $17 or almost $18 a day down to looks like maybe $6.50, something like that. So
that's preferred. That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Our database spend was really high, and a big chunk of it was that TT-serve DB, which I was like, I don't think this is doing anything anymore.
No, it's a flat base that he used for that. It's not anymore. I think he tested it and left it on.
Yep, pretty much. So our bill should get quite a bit smaller next month, which would be nice. Cool. And yeah, so speaking of the presentation, I like to work from slides, so I started a deck. You don't have to use this deck. It's just sort of how I work. But if you want to add some slides here, you can. If you want to do something else, that's cool. You should be able to edit this because it's in that Google Drive that you should be on as well. So
yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's the same folder as like the infrastructure deck.
What I would do, I would mostly just do a show. So I show the parts I have and the things and talk about it. Talk about the history, about the same, about how we developed that 3 years ago already, starting with Joseph, building the prototype where we had the workshop, and from there on, reintroducing the M5 stack and things like that.
Yeah.
And then also the limitation of the BGAIKI I will talk about. That's one of the reasons why we start building this in. And also the availability of the file microprocessor was an issue. And not be able to develop more on it. Because memory restrictions, hardware is not available anymore.
Yep.
The file system, the FAT file system on the SD drive is limited. You cannot add data on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All this limit.
Yeah.
At that time, it was great. I mean, there was something going and it worked, but I think we can make it much better now.
Yeah, I mean, when was the first design done? I mean, it was a long time ago at this point. So
2012. 2012.
2012, yeah. So
I built the prototype board for it.
Yeah, so approaching 10 years ago at this point, I think it's probably time for a rev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still remembering making the traces one by one.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, and I'm just as you were talking, just taking some notes here. So if you want to use these, you can. If not, no big deal. You could just show your camera and show it off and talk to it. I think it'll be fine too.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, because cool. I just want to show the things and
great,
kind of out of my head and easy, and no direction, and see how it goes. And people can ask if they want to, but I don't think so. Maybe Peter will interrupt.
Sounds good.
Questions. So.
Yeah, and it's only a 15-minute slot, so it's not like we want to put a ton of stuff in here. So
no.
Yeah, so Peter asked about talking about like the data flow. And so what I was thinking of is, and I'm going to try to do this like as quickly as I can, but just show, the API app started this way. Like it was really simple. It was just like Rails, Postgres, a Mac that generated some tiles, and that was it. And then like little by little, we started hanging stuff off of it. We started hanging off real time. We started hanging off exports. More devices started coming in TT serve, and then basically, and now we have like the Airnote here as well.
No, that's good. That's good. Great. It makes it very simple.
Yeah. And then so the next thing I want to talk about is like where I'd like to take this is, rather than just the issues that we had with this is like it was really evolved. It wasn't planned. We have that one central PostGIS data store it's big and expensive. It's difficult to give people direct access to. We don't have really flexible large exports. We have flexible slow exports via the Rails API, but they can't be very big because you'll hit timeouts and things like that. And then so basically what I was going to do is just talk about ingest, and I still need to do this slide, but basically the whole idea behind ingest is like anything can just send JSON. That goes into SNS, and then we hang a bunch of stuff off SNS, and we can hang whatever we want off SNS. In fact, I think even people from the community don't really know this yet, but like all you need is an AWS account, and you can connect your own service to our SNS. Like it's totally public. So if you want to ingest this information on your own and do something totally different with it, go for it. It's there. And so that's the main thing I want to just talk about, and then probably show off, what that new architecture enables is this nice sort of stuff like the guy you drive. I was going to show like the new Airnote map. And basically, because it's all just based on JSON and it's a flexible pipeline, we can publish anywhere, and it makes it really easy to like put it in S3, put it in Grafana, put it in Postgres, whatever we need to do. So that's pretty much what I was going to talk about. That make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Super fast version. I think I can probably keep it to like 7 minutes or less.
And also, but don't tell too many things you want to do, because it can only be disappointing for people.
Yeah, that's true. I think I'll stick to like what exists right now. Which, yeah. This is all stuff that's here. Yeah, and the same here.
This is done, and we can show that, and maybe show the map even.
That's what I was. Did you had like a new map that you were working on, right? Because you could probably show that one.
Yeah, I had a kind of map for myself where radiation and air are together.
Mm-hmm. Was it like this one? Big map?
Maybe. Blue and red one. Yes.
Okay, cool.
The blue ones are the radiations, and the red ones are air.
Yep. Awesome. Cool.
So
I think I'll probably include this as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I was planning on. I still need to flesh out that second slide about, the new ingest pipeline and the way that that's all working. But yeah, it's a short slot. So I think the main thing I just wanted to, you're good.
Yep. But I want to also, except for talking about this, I would like to also to think about for the infrastructure for dev. That's for interns and people coming into Safecast. It's much easier if we have that mapped out. Like I also had troubles like how to get Docker going, and the AWS integration into the system.
Yep. I think and you opened like an issue to do some more on that. the main thing I would just say is we have kind of like the start of this, which is it's the onboarding document. So it would be great if, like, rather than just making something totally new, we could update this and get it all built into here. Yeah, because we have the basic onboarding. Actually, someone called out this course doesn't exist anymore. So like I need to find a new intro course, which is a shame because I know a lot of our volunteers really like that course. So I'll have to find a new course. Probably make some updates to like maybe one of these dev guides, or like maybe it's time for a new dev guide. The one thing to just watch out for is like on Windows, and Robin ran into this. So like if you're trying to contribute on Windows, it's actually going to be more painful to try to run the Ruby Docker mounted to a Windows volume, because what's going to happen is like Ruby is going to be like, oh, hey, I'm on Linux, and it's going to start doing some things as if it were on Linux.
Oh, yeah, it was
but
root.
the code is all on Windows. And so Robin ran into this problem where like you'll run into things because it assumes it's on like a case sensitive file system, but it's not. And so if you're on Windows, it's easier to keep Ruby on Windows, because that way you won't run into like file system oddities, because like, you know, Ruby will see that it's running on Windows and it'll know that, okay, I'm on Windows, it's not going to be case sensitive. And it won't try to do things that involve case sensitivity. Whereas if you're in Docker, it'll think it's on Linux, but it's not really. So,
and also even with Linux, there are problems because the inside Docker is root, and outside is not rooted. So
yeah, you can run into that problem as well. Yeah.
I still trouble with that. So.
The other thing, what is it? The other thing that's been on my mind on this front is workspaces. Yeah, no, GitHub. What are they called? It's like, oh, CodeSpace. I haven't done anything on this yet, but we don't have access to GitHub CodeSpaces yet. Eventually we might, but gitpod, that's the one. I was looking at if there's something that we could maybe do on gitpod, because I think for, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so they're free for public repos, and it looks like they give you free 50 hours of compute time a month. And so like if we can work out how to build a development environment on gitpod, then that would actually just be completely in the browser. Like it doesn't matter what operation.
That's wonderful. And even maybe the gitpod is interested to get safeguards on board.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. You know, it just says 50 hours. It doesn't say how much memory or anything like that. But like the app doesn't require a ton of overhead. Actually, the thing that requires some memory is PostGIS and Elasticsearch more than anything else. So the actual, you know, the Rails app itself doesn't eat a whole lot of memory.
It cannot do like a link to it, and then it takes it up a little bit slow, but it's maybe.
I think we probably could. So I haven't tried it yet, but it might be something to experiment with, because if we can figure out how to get a development environment operating on gitpod, then we don't have to worry so much about Linux versus Windows versus whatever. We can just have people.
Hold on a second. Did you look to the right side? So going back, they have Ruby also on it?
I don't see it like right here, but I guess maybe they're just not highlighting it. So.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't work.
Then it doesn't work. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't actually tried it yet. I'm just. Oh, all right, 1 second.
No batteries anymore.
Yeah, it's been meetings all morning, so my headphones just went out.
You need 2 sets. One is charging while you're working.
Well, the AirPods have that feature because like each ear can operate independently. So like you'll see, I was on the right, now I'm on the left. So yeah, so you can just juggle your sides, and that works out. There you go. Cool. There's a Ruby on Rails example with the Postgres database. So yeah, like I haven't tried it myself, but like basically I was hoping we would get GitHub Workspace support sooner, but we still haven't. So it got me like when you were trying to spin up the app, I was like, is there something other than CodeSpaces that we could use? And I found this gitpod thing that might be good, but I don't know. So something to try.
And then do you know people will use it? So you can check if it's
Not personally. So yeah, I could Twitter out something and see if anyone uses it, but
that will be a head start. Let's say this way.
yeah. Let me do that. Cool. Looks like they just gitpod. Tweet. Nope. I don't want like a reply. I want just a regular tweet, and then I'll mention them.
They have a 30 million fundraising.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should also check if it probably keeps versioning. So
I would guess it probably just has Git integration, so that like when you make your change and then you commit back to GitHub.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me tweet out just to see if anyone else has used it. I was just Googling. Like I basically did exactly what I just did there. Is I Googled code space alternatives, and this is one of the hits that came up.
Yeah.
So
it looks interesting. And how much do they charge for the paid version if we have to go there?
Let me see.
It's a lot of money, then you shouldn't, but you never know.
Personal is $10 per user per month, so not super cheap. But the thing is, we do, but not too much. Yeah. But I'm hopeful because we're pretty much all open source with the exception of the Terraform repository. For a lot of contributions, people are going to be working on either API or ingest, which are open anyway. And so as long as this like free open source offering isn't too constrained resource wise, like I don't know what it has for RAM or whatnot, but maybe we could just use that and wouldn't even have to pay, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. And do you know who the founders are?
I do not.
Because if we know that maybe we have Peter or Ray have connections with them, and can just ask them.
What's Crunchbase? I was trying to remember that name.
Crunchbase.
Thankfully, Google remembered for me. Germany venture private. No names that I recommend. EU. So. So if anything, maybe Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I don't. I'm trying to think what other links we have in EU that might know something about the venture scene.
Yeah, 3 German guys looks like, or a doctor. That's a professor probably. Yeah, professor.
Yeah,
click on the founder, the first one, Jan Kugan. What comes up with him?
Founded company. Co-founder, gitpod, Typefox, Temis, Gentleware.
That's what
University.
University.
Yeah.
Hamburg.
I don't think we have any links to Hamburg.
No. Emory.
Well, that was the thing is like Emory and Colin are both in Berlin, so there's a chance that one of those two people might brush elbows with someone from this org. So
yeah, I think Colin will be interested in too, maybe.
Yeah.
To get gitpod going. But, by the way, June didn't get any reply from Emory. He's trying to reach him, but nothing yet. That's a bummer.
Yeah. I hope he's okay and just busy, and like something happened.
I hope not with COVID in the hospital.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case. Yeah. Much rather people just be busy doing awesome things than
that's true.
Some sort of emergency. Cool. So yeah, that was another thing I was thinking that, it looks interesting. I haven't really tried it. It looks like it's basically just like VS Code in a browser or something very close to it. So, because it looks an awful lot like VS Code or VS Code.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Can you go back one time?
This one or one?
Yeah, no, it's just interesting when you see Ruby on Rails and you see the whole structure directly.
Yeah. It seems to be all here.
It's nice, yes.
I like it.
Oh, probably it runs when I see the icons. It just runs VS Code.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, these looks a lot like VS Code, so I guess it's just something. I don't know if it's like actual VS Code or a fork or what, but
That's open source. So,
yeah. But
so maybe they
looks,
took it. I think they took it out, and then yeah, exactly. VS
it
Code.
looks like it's just got a terminal.
Yeah.
Is it like
The whole thing? It just runs in a VM, probably.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Postgres is just running there. So like, we'd probably have to figure out like, I don't know.
I mean,
what's the way to check for the
this
extension?
is great because this means that it's the interface is also familiar to people using VS Code.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Clicking around.
Let me see. I think this could be good. Let me. Where do we? I know we had somewhere in here. We had like a little snippet that I figured out to like check to make sure that you have Postgres installed. But I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe we took that out somewhere. Structure. There it is. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, put it in and see if it works out.
Yeah. All right, it's in my browser, so it's in this other.
Yeah.
I'm still not used to it. Yeah, take a clipboard. Okay, so it looks like either Postgres is not installed or not configured. So we can't run API without Postgres, so we're gonna have to figure that part out. That'll be like a hard blocker to run the app. We can run without Elasticsearch. Some parts of the app won't work without Elasticsearch, but like a lot will. So it'd be good if we could get Elasticsearch running on this as well, but you know, it's not as hard a blocker, but like we need to figure out how to get the Postgres extension installed onto this gitpod VM before the app can really do much of anything. Yeah. So that's like a critical requirement is the Postgres extension.
Maybe it just needs to spin up another VM for that.
Yeah, I get the feeling like there's got to be some way that like when I say like give me a gitpod against the API repository, there must be some way that I can say, oh, and here's like the YAML file that defines all the things that need to be installed in the VM or whatever. Like there's got to be some way to like customize it, right? Like I see this like gitpod Docker file. Maybe this is it.
It's just
workspace Postgres. Yeah, so like maybe we can even tell it to use like a custom image or something. You know, like there's probably something we can do here.
We can even
literally
put in a safecast image there. That would be good.
Exactly. Yeah. This is I haven't ever clicked this far into the app. So like we're doing it live here. So I'm sure there's all sorts of options, but I think it could be a good thing to explore, and that way we don't care what kind of hardware. You know, they could be on a Chromebook at that point, and it should be fine.
They're running RVM, so you can you can switch. They're using RVMs.
Yeah. It looks like RVM is already installed from lots of things too. So yeah, Ruby version should be fine.
Yeah. So good, great.
So pretty cool.
Because this you can share directly too. So
probably. Like there might even be a way to say, you know, here's my environment, Rob, go take a look, or you know, that would be pretty cool.
And also, it would be great if you can share it also, so you can at the same time working on it.
Yeah, access control. Integrations. That's a different kind of access control. Teams and team members. Looks like teams might be paid only or something because it's saying like $200. Yeah, let's not create a team just yet. Cool. Yeah, so something to play around with. And so if you're digging into like onboarding material, it might be good to try this and then write it. If this seems good, maybe our onboarding material can tell people to just use this, and then if it's someone like Taka knew what he was doing, right? Like Taka is a Ruby developer already, so like he already knew to just set up RVM and all that stuff. So people who don't want to use this can obviously do whatever they want, but if they have no idea how to develop Ruby, Rails, and Postgres applications, we have something that's pretty much ready to go for them on Gitpod. So or if not gitpod, then maybe something else similar. There's a
Uh-huh.
couple of competitors in the space at this point. So there's AWS Cloud9, but you need an AWS account for that one. There's no like free. Replit. I played with Replit at one point, but like at the time they didn't have Ruby support. Maybe they do now. They were very JavaScript centric the last time I tried Replit, but that might be another thing to try. And then they mention CodePen, which is definitely just like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So yeah. Coding with a K. That's a new one on me. So yeah, something to try. I agree. It would be nice to make it easier. It's just someone's going to have to do the work of figuring out what a good path is, and then writing up a document. So.
Okay, good. But you have to go, I think. You
4 minutes anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, everything else, we have the talk. Things are kind of moving along. If you hear from Batran, let me know what's up there. Like, I was really hoping Batran would be helping us with a map, and he hasn't responded to me at all in like weeks. I've been DMing a couple of times and nothing. So I think Peter brought him into the org, so maybe Peter has an idea of how to get in touch with him. I was working on this, but not so much lately. I don't know, so maybe I'll just put this back in a soon for now. And then Ato and Taco are sort of bouncing the Airnote page back and forth. But like right now it's still erroring. And actually, I mentioned this in the channel. But right now, even like Ato had a PR to try to clean up some of the code that Emre wrote. But the code looked a lot nicer. But it just like explodes on dev. So we need more work in the device story pages. Hopefully from Ato and Taka, because they're looking into that. So
and also the first page, I think we need to get much more detail on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But first we need to actually make it work.
Yeah, make it work.
and then add more detail.
The detail. Oh yeah, that's more critical.
Yeah. And then did I click away from it? That story basically captures a bunch of the stuff that like Ray iterated out as to like what he would like to see as well. So like if you have other stuff that you would like to add to that list, just go ahead and edit the description, and that way hopefully Ato and Taka can take a look at making that better.
Also because Ray is on hold with the RadNote, and that's to do with the high voltage power supply we're working on.
Okay, gotcha.
So if those come online, Peter was thinking there could be a lot coming.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really exciting.
Okay,
yeah, I think a lot of people would be very excited to have a new option for fixed radiation sensor, because right now your only real option is to kind of like rig up a big Eigen Nano, and you can't even get a big Eigen Nano right now anyway. So yeah.
But the Zen would be good, or the big Eigen Cast, that would be good.
Yeah. Well, if you have a big Eigen already, then the big Eigen Cast. But I think Zen will be the future. And then if we can also have RadNote, I mean, that would be amazing, right? I think there's probably a lot of people who aren't as worried about mobile, but they would love to have a fixed sensor. So
yes, fixed sensor would be good, and it's relatively cheap.
Yep.
So there are still a lot of issues with the Airnote, I noticed, but I shouldn't talk about.
Yeah,
because Ray's trying to promote it, but I'm running into a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, at least mine's been really solid. So.
Yeah. Once they run, they're normally fine.
Yeah.
But some have issues, and if you push it a little bit, it goes kunk. I'm not the only one. In the forums, people are complaining about it, and they're releasing new patches.
Gotcha.
So
well, it's a brand new product, so.
Yeah, no, that's developing cycle. So
yeah,
that's normal.
But
everybody think it's so great. It's the concept is nice. But,
yeah.
I think it's another phase.
Yeah, I mean, any new product will have some kinks. I think we'll work it out. Ray and his team are smart people, so I think we'll find a path forward.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, and it's not like they're all having problems. It's some subset, because I mean, my only problem was I just needed to find a nice sunny spot that I could put double stick tape. Once I found that, it's been real happy. So.
That's true. But now we are starting to run into problems with the SolarCast Nanos and the SolarCast itself, and they are aging, and they are GPS never locked, but Ray doesn't fix it anymore.
Yeah.
Understandable, but because he moves on. But
Yeah.
the things behind is still people using them.
Yeah.
They need to be supported.
Yep.
Anyway, so you should go.
Cool. Yep, I should. Time for the next meeting. I'll post the recording once we're done. Good chatting.
Okay, bye-bye.